No more destruction, no more defeat, because every time one of those things happen, you have the choice to rise. You are someone, your identity is something no one can steal. You have possibilities so infinite, it makes small minds tremble.
Welcome to the show. Tired of the hype about living the dream? It's time for truth. This is the place for tools, power, and real talk so you can create the life you dream and deserve. Your ultimate life. Subscribe, share, create. You have infinite power.
Last time we were here, last episode, we stood in the wreckage, feeling the powerful, soul-eating raw agony of dreams undone, obliterated. Today, we're going to start on new ground, not because life got easier, but because you chose to reset, to rise up. From here, we're going to talk about power. Now think about that and own it. Ownership that seizes the pen from every doubter. We're going to start there because you are the only one that can. Your sovereignty. You own your life and you're the only one that owns it. Don't give it up. Today, you become unstoppable. I want to move on and talk about dawn. So we talked in the episode before about being obliterated. You know, what happens when your dream gets obliterated? What you were doing is smashed to the ground and you start down there. And we talked about strategies to start and get back to even, get back up off the ground, make a choice to rise up. And that rising up is just the beginning, but you know that. So what do you do then? Today, we're going to talk about from that place of having not given up, but risen up to becoming unstoppable. Infinity, having the dreams you want. That's the place I live all the time. And sure, like anybody else, I wake up some days and think, am I nuts? I just wrote the foreword for a book, not the foreword, but the introduction to a book called Coaching and the Rise of AI, where sometimes am scared to death about what I'm proclaiming. I think 95% of coaches are going to be out of business in 18 months. By Christmas, 26. By New Year's, 27. 18 to 24 months is what I'm actually predicting, and it might be faster than that. And the only ones that are still going to be around are the 5%, the elite. And it isn't about good questions, and it isn't about the skills that you learned in coaching school. In fact, most coaching methodologies are going to be obliterated. But that's in the book. Today, I want to talk about the choices that you and I can make when we have something to do and we want to take it to the finish line, to the gold medal. Not just a little, but like the blowout opportunities and accomplishments, because you have that in you. And you know what? You know it. You know that. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. I'm not saying something to you that's foreign. Now, maybe you don't want to. Maybe you are absolutely content and happy to live life just day to day and enjoying what's in front of you, and that's fine. But there are many, like me, and maybe like you, who feel called to do something, not for glory, not for greed, not for, ooh, I'm cool, but because your soul demands it. And you can push it down for so long, and you can pretend it away. You can live under the blanket of insecurity and the I'm not good enough and the stories of defeat and the crushing weight of previous obliterations. Maybe you had one last week. I don't know. They're all the same. They either blow you up or they provide the refiner's fire. That's true every single time, no matter what. They blow you up or they provide the refiner's fire. Read a post on Facebook today about someone who's finally discovering they've got nothing to prove. This call to produce all you can, to sing the song you came to sing, it's not about being judged worthy or cool or approved by anyone in the world. It's not about that. It's not about the acclaim or the recognition. It's about simply answering the call in your heart. Now, we've been contaminated that the only answers that matter are other people thinking we're cool, right? Other people thinking we're wonderful. Other people thinking, ooh, about us. That's never going to be it. You can never get enough of what you don't need, and you don't need anyone's approval. Because what you don't need won't satisfy you. The only things that satisfy our soul is what we actually need. And what we actually need, yes, we need to eat, but we don't need worldly acclaim and approval. You need to answer the call that's in your heart. You need to answer the call that says, this is why I was born. I was born to write words like scripture, to speak like thunder. And the reason that's my calling is because of what I've been through in my life, the choices that I've made. And I suspect that your choices and journey have provided you with an invincible, unstoppable, unignorable, if that's a word, call to do something. What is yours? Right now, I want you to get in touch with that. I'll tell you what mine is. This year, it's to reach 300 million people with a message, and the message is WIPOS, about your worth, about your identity, infinite worth, divine identity, possibility, which is you can create whatever you want, ownership, which is you own your life, nobody's coming, and sovereignty is a powerful word and evokes images of kings and queens and, scepters and that sort of stuff. You're that. You're an infinite being. If you just had a glimpse right this minute of who you really are in the divine scheme of things, your whole life would change. So this is an invitation to do that. You're standing, now if we go on from the last one, we have some obliteration and then you get back to even. And now maybe you're standing in the ashes, literally, of a house that burned down, or figuratively of a business that burned down, or an empty bank account, or a partner that left, or a betrayal that's so deep you crushed your soul until you got back up. Now what? Well, I'll tell you what it is. We got from smashed to pieces back to ground zero. And that's the episode before this one. Not a guess, but the other one I did before this. Go listen to that if you haven't, because these are designed to be done. These two are designed to be done in sequence. Anyway, so here you are, and with a determination to do more, to be more, not half-assed, not dip your toe in the water, not saying, well, maybe, I don't know. That's not going to get you over the fire. That's certainly not going to make you like this person here. Looks like a dude, but it could be a woman in that same position. So man or woman, victory, facing the fire, ready to go, already going, moving forward to crush it, not to prove, but because it's your calling. You know what I mean, and you know exactly how that feels. The question is, will you answer the call and will you rise? Now, I made reference earlier to something I call the WIPOS framework. WIPOS framework is something I'm introducing in some books that I'm writing right now. And the book that I'm writing one of the books I'm writing right now is Coaching and the Rise of AI. And it talks about what AI is doing and will do very quickly to the coaching profession, many other professions too, but specifically the coaching profession, the profession of, being in the people encouragement business, lifting, helping, loving, serving, blessing those who are trying to get to their Olympic podium, whether it's sports or business or life, joy, happiness, relationships, whatever it is. Top performers have always had coaches. But anyway, WIPOS stands for this. Not to be confused with WITOT, which is a disease, what I think others think. That's a disease. WIPOS, W-I-P-O-S, is a framework for exploding your impact, your income, your joy, your happiness. And here's what it stands for. W is worth. Do you know your worth? You breathe air. You are created in the image of God and whatever you call the divine. And because you are, your worth is infinite. I know that for me because even in the midst of my deepest struggle, meaning addiction and suicide attempts and everything else, in August of 2007, God Almighty, the divine, offered me an invitation. It was stunning. It shook the walls. It woke me up. It didn't do any of the work for repair, but it woke me up to embark on an unknown journey. But what it told me is I was worth it. So are you. That was the year I turned 52. I'd spent decades floundering around, creating and destroying success. So your worth is not in question. You, here, now, your worth is infinite. Hear me. If you don't know that, That's your first area of opportunity. Create a connection, get the right coaching, get on your knees or meditate or do whatever it is that shuts the noise off so you can connect with your inner being, your higher being, your creator, the divine, the universe, whatever you want to call that. You know it's there and you felt it. So live into it. Reach for it. Trust it. Worth is number one, first one, W. I in WIPOS is identity. So it's easy for me to say, oh, your worth is infinite. What supports that is who you are. Because no matter how many, some people do genealogy, their father, mother, grandparents, and on back for a few generations. We do that in our family. So we've got, generations back to the 1500s and sometimes earlier. The pedigree of your spirit, the essence, the energy of who you are, the real you, is written on a single line. You're a child of the divine. You're a child of God. So it's you, God. That is a truth that's so powerful and mind-blowing. Just the mere contemplation of that fact makes me tremble. That means, without question, that God, the Creator, knows you, knows your name, knows your capability, knows what you wanted to do, knows what you want right now, knows what you're feeling and thinking, knows what your capabilities are. Ooh, that scares me, right? Because one of the most important things that I work on for me and with clients is to get a glimpse of what that means. Because if you truly live into the truth that you're a child of God, lovingly and intentionally created, the whole world changes. You think about everything differently, and mindset is 80 to 90% of any situation. If you think you can or think you can't, you're right. You've heard that before. It's been said in 100 different ways, but it's still true every time. So the next thing is P, W-I-P. P is possibility. Because you are a child of the divine, that means you have divine DNA woven into you. Now, just like an acorn can become an oak. All the ingredients and instructions are in there. The ingredients and instructions of infinity are in you. You were born that way. You were created that way. Your possibility is infinite. Now, I know some people, many people, all of us, some people were born to a life of struggle. Sometimes it's right out of the box. I'm born with some deformity, one arm or one leg. And I was born with eyes that have gradually deteriorated over my life until I have my corneas are mush and I have to wear special lenses that go clear out to the whites of my eyeballs and, stuff like that. And I have hereditary hearing loss and have to wear really powerful hearing aids. And recently I have discs that are deteriorating, so I walk with a limp and a cane. I don't care. You may have been born in poverty. You may have been born to abusive parents who were on purpose or accidentally crappy. You may have had relationship issues. You may have struggled with depression like I did for decades, believing with all my heart I wasn't good enough and never would be, and all the things that come from that, self-sabotage. I don't care. The possibility of infinity is woven into your DNA, and the question is, are you willing to find it, own it, believe it? That's the key to standing there in victory with your arms raised, facing the dawn, facing the fire, facing the sunrise, in victory, worth, infinite, identity, child of God, possibility. The sky's the limit. The O is ownership. Like one of the fundamental tenets in our relationship with the divine, we were created with love. We had agreements about who we were and what we were going to do before we came here, which we have to relearn and remember, right? We were given agency, the right to choose, the infinite and eternal right to own your life. And no one is coming. No one's going to do it for you. Nobody can do your push-ups for you. Personal development push-ups or physical push-ups. No one can do that. No one can take care of your health. No one can take care of your body. No one can help you, cause you to lose weight or get strong or gain weight, or whatever it is that you want. that you don't have. No one can fill up your bank account. And even if they do, like winning the lottery or whatever, you know the statistics. People that haven't earned it don't keep it. They lose it and they're worse off. Why? Because they haven't done the work and done the things that happen when you earn it. You know, one of the things that Simon Sinek, who's a speaker that talks a lot about future things, and I love his stuff, he said one of the terrifying dangers of AI isn't that it can do perfect things. It's that if we let it do everything, then we miss the growth. We have missed who we become as we did that thing. Well, that horrifies me. I love AI and I use it all the time for tools and outlines and, you know, book projects and definitions and research. And I use it every day, a lot. And it saves time and helps and does all kinds of cool stuff. But I do the work with it. And I use it and I internalize it and take it apart. It's just a tool. So and that can be true with any tool. That's just the one that's a lot of noise right now. So ownership, it's yours. It isn't anybody else's. And you can be mad if you were born in difficult circumstances. Maybe you have a limp or a struggle or an emotional limp or something left over from 1 or 2 or 10 things that happened in your past. So what? Are you going to let that define you? I tell the story a lot of my dog. I had him for 10 years, 2007 to 17. I got him as a pup, 2007. And right after I got him in November and December on New Year's Eve, I had never had a dog before. So we were playing and I was playing a little too rough and didn't know because I'd never had a dog before. Anyway, the dog bumped into a speaker stand in the stereo room, you know, the entertainment room. A speaker fell off the stand, landed on his foot, broke all the metatarsals. Dog was howling in pain. I felt awful. Middle of the night, it's New Year's Eve, right? 2008, driving all over the place. Joy and I were trying to find a midnight veterinarian. And we found one, and they did midnight surgery and did what they could and told us he may have a limp. Sure enough, later in life, and for the rest of his life, he developed a limp. So that unfortunate accident, I blame myself for and felt horrible about, the dog wasn't having any of it. He lived absolutely to the fullest. You and I can do that, no matter what's come before. We can forgive, and we can do everything we can with whatever limps, emotional or physical, that are left over. This life is just a micro dot. You and I both know we're going somewhere afterwards, and we came from somewhere. So we live the very best we can, and you own this life. The last is S, which is sovereignty. You rule your life. You rule your attitude. You rule your circumstance. You rule everything. You create how you feel about life. You can choose to be happy every day, even if the shit hits the fan. You can choose that. Why wouldn't you? It's too hard? You're too lazy? Somebody told you couldn't? I don't know. Choose. Live, love, create. So there's the initial framework: worth, identity, possibility, ownership, sovereignty. You can have what you want. Or here's another thing you can do. You can pretend it's not true. You can get mad because you don't like how it's going down. And you can live in recrimination, bitterness. And why would you do that? If you want to go from ground zero, you know, where we left off in the other episode, like you fought yourself away from obliteration back up to zero, I'm inviting you to grab a hold of life by the horns every day, every minute, every second, just because you can. It's yours. What the frick? Over? Like, own your life. Creative at what you want. Quit worrying about what somebody else thinks or wants or does. And if you love them and you choose to make them happy, then choose it all in. No resentment, no negativity. I've created my life so I have zero obligations. None. Zero obligations. And at the same time, I do many of the things that pay rent and take care of people and serve and do dishes and everything else that a lot of people think of as obligations, but they're not. They're commitments. They're things that I joyfully dive into every time I touch them. Why? Because I can. I can hate mowing the lawn or pulling the weeds, or I can love it. I like it. My life is more fun when I love everything that I do, and I choose to do that. It's not Pollyanna. It's not stupid. It is a choice, and you have that choice. Making that choice allows you to live and enjoy every day, and one of the byproducts of that is you're more creative. You're more fun to be around. You make more clients. You get more money. You're more productive. You get more promotions. So life's more fun. You get more cash. We call that the ultimate life. Purpose, prosperity, joy. So when you own your worth, identity, possibility, ownership, and sovereignty, that leads you inevitably to a place where you can create purpose, prosperity, and joy. When you're living every moment in purpose, prosperity, and joy, you can't be mad. You can't have a shitty day. You just can't. Because you choose a framework of love and giving. So I want to ask you some questions. If you're trying to go from, flat back to ground zero after the obliteration to infinity, to this picture behind me, this great victory, excitement, ultimate life, who are you waiting for to crown you? To say, okay, you now have, you're now the queen or king. Nobody's coming. Hear me, nobody's coming. And if they do, it's fake. You own that. Now, another question, is your worth negotiable? That tripped me up so many times. I believed with all my heart I was only as good as the crappiest thing people said. The most awful negative thing. And then I would pile on it my own internal voice. I can't this, I'll never that, I'm no good. Just on and on and on. It wasn't true and it never was, but I made it true by repeating it and swimming in it and drowning in it and stuffing my face for lunch with it and on and on and on. How horrible. And you know what? I controlled that as soon as I stopped. And yeah, it took work and help and coaching and therapy and all the rest, but it changes life, and I just love every minute now. You can too. I'm not magic. Here's some invitations in the middle. If you want my help to do that, get a hold of me. KellanFluckigerMedia.com. It's on the screen. KellanFluckigerMedia.com. There's a contact sheet there. Get a hold of me. Let's talk, because this is all I do, is help you understand the things I learned and then make purpose, prosperity, which includes all the cash you ever wanted, and joy, the substance of your life. Another couple questions. Are you going to keep blaming the storm, or are you going to learn to command the wind? And we all know the story of in Jesus in the Bible commanding the sea to be still. You can do that. You can command the wind and the storm of your heart, your soul, the tumult of your life to be still. No one else can do it for you, only you. You are divine and you have that power. Here's the last question I want to ask here in the middle. Who dares to write the next line of your story? Like the next hour, the next day, it's a blank page. Who dares to write that? Only you. The only way anyone else can even influence that is if you hand them the pen. If you turn over your sovereignty, your attitude, your heart, your willingness, your worth to somebody else. I'm only as good as they say I am. Okay, then you've handed the pen. Take it back. You can do that anytime. All right, so I want to talk now about this creation process. Because creating your ultimate life is just that. It's creating your ultimate life. It doesn't come in a jar. It doesn't come in an Amazon box. It really doesn't. It's in your hands, and you can start today. Now, I wasn't able to go from complaining and suffering and struggling to ultimate life in a day, but you might. So let's talk about the creation of the, what are the foundation blocks of creating your ultimate life? What do you have to do? When you own WIPOS, worth, identity, possibility, ownership, sovereignty, when you own that internally and you know it and you breathe it and you're not faking it, you become dangerous to mediocrity. You will annihilate mediocrity. You become addicted to excellence. I don't mean silly perfectionism. I mean, going all in on your own life. And that doesn't mean work all the time. You know, I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about single-minded focus on whoever you are and how you choose to show up in the world. If you're a writer, you go write. If you're a painter, you go paint. If you're a musician, you go music, sing or play. If you're an executive, you go be the very best leader there ever was. Truthful, honest, open, vulnerable, transparent, creating people who want to follow you because you are that. The leader of yourself, your family, your business. That is all available to you right this minute. Now, here's the what some could see as a paradox. When I say all that about being dangerous to mediocrity and committed to moving forward, you still feel fear. Fear is the uncertainty of an outcome, and it's like, I'm worried, I'm scared this won't turn out like I want. Well, you can drop that because it won't. Almost nothing turns out like we planned. Sometimes it's a little better, and mostly it's worse or different. Instead of treating it as an indictment or a setback, it just is. Learn what you can and move forward. Every situation is either a success or a learning opportunity. Learn to rejoice in every outcome. That's not a platitude. Learn to rejoice in every outcome. It's your call. Like, nobody can make you sad. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. You've heard that before. Suffering is the continued reliving of the pain, the bitching about the pain, the blaming about the difficulty, strain, or pain. Why would you make the pain last longer than you want? Because you can stop now. Whoa, think about that. So you might still feel fear. You're still going to carry the scars, like the limp we talked about from the dog. You're going to carry those scars, but those scars are your energy. They're your wisdom. They're the love you have to pour over people. The scars that I have, some of which I did, some of which others did, I don't even care. Everybody is forgiven, and I love them all, including me, which was the hardest for me, and I still carry the limp, the scars of many things. And that's the power. It is your power, the scars you have, not to rail, not to lament and point at, but because it makes you humble, it makes you compassionate, it makes you feel love, it makes you see others in the very step of their divine progress that they're in. And however you interact, I mean, I have chosen the profession of coaching, which is to get right in the trenches with every person I meet and love them, fiercely, furiously, because I can and because I see who you are, really. And that's the calling that I've chosen. What is yours? And even though you feel fear and carry scars, you choose to create anyway. I think this is episode 998, so we're a couple away from episode 1,000. And even with that, I'm never going to quit. You know, it'll take us a while. We do 2 a week, but we'll get to 2,000 and then more. Why? Because giving you all the love and encouragement I have, that's my calling. To love you, to lift you, to help, to bless. And in helping, if you have a story and you'd like to share it, get a hold of me. KellanFluckigerMedia.com. Use the contact form. I want to share your story. Now, what you choose to create depends on your gifts and talents and your yearning, the calling you have to add good to the world. Mine is books, music, coaching programs, helping people write books, helping people learn to speak. The truth is, all those hardships, they're just refining fire. You were never broken. Each of those just breaks us open so we can shed the dross and purify the gold. You know that in your heart. You know that's true. So own that and live into it. All right. The last thing about this section, I talk about purpose, prosperity, and joy. The most valuable, money, the most valuable thing you have to offer to the world is the story of your growth, how you got where you are. Because every one of us has been smashed by setbacks, crushed by cruelty that wasn't ours, obliterated by injustice, either a little or a lot. And it's how we choose to let those things refine us that matters. That's it. How we choose to let those refine us is what matters. And when you let them refine you, it's not a quiet victory. It's uncontainable joy because you finally get a glimpse of who you really are, and you were never broken, just refined. That's why I live, people ask me, do you have this energy all the time? The answer is absolutely every day. Why? Because I live in that uncontrollable joy. I am perpetual joy. I am that. Because I choose it. I love it. I'd rather live there than anywhere else. So I want to talk about one more thing, and it's about how do you embody this daily? Because I'm saying this to you, and if you hear this podcast, you might think I'm nuts and say, dipweed and turn it off. But if this is calling you, you might say, well, this is great. I'm inspired. Man, I'm going to jump out of my skin and go do something. I have found I have to do this every day. I have to embody. That's a buzzword that's going around. But what it means is I have to create my inner circumstance, my outer thing, visage, everything daily. I have to choose over and over again who I'm being. Okay? In sports, sometimes they call that your game face, right? You put on your game face. That means the stance that you have to be focused and clear when you're in your competition. Well, for me, every day is not a competition, but it is an expression. I choose to be all in my daily expression. I choose to be this guy that you're seeing every day. So if we met in the grocery store, I'd be the same dude. One of the funniest things, and I felt like it was a nice compliment someone gave to me, was speaking at a conference, and I met someone sought me out after, during a break, and I did not know them, but they knew me. They'd been following me on socials and stuff. And he walked up to me and he said, same dude. And the context was that the things he had seen on video and in person were exactly the same. And I felt good about that because that meant the truth of my being was consistent. Are you the same? Do you put on a jacket for this situation and for that person? Don't do that. Choose who you're being and then be that. Love, kindness, creation, power. Or you can choose to be a jerkwad all the time, but I've never found that to create purpose, prosperity, and joy. So here's how you do that. You have to do it on purpose. Ask anybody that works out at a gym. You don't accidentally get strong. You don't accidentally add 20 or 50 or 100 pounds to your weights on whatever the exercise is. None of that happens by accident. You don't fall up that mountain. The dude in the picture here facing the, fire and the sunrise with his arms raised. You don't fall up that mountain. You have to climb, sometimes on your knees. So I have a daily creation process. If you want to know what it is and how to use it, I wrote a book, 18 years worth of work about creating both documents and daily creation. That's in this book, Living with Purpose and Power. Read it. Tell me what you think. But don't just read it. Apply it. Let it mold and shape your life. Let it create in you the fire that you deserve, the joy that is your birthright, the creative power that is burned into your DNA. I know that about you. If you were here, I would love you. I love you anyway. You're a divine being, came from the same place I do. You got gifts and talents running out your ears. I don't know what you've done with them. I buried mine for a long time and did other things, what I was supposed to do, and struggled with depression and all that. That's no more. It's unleashed. That process started 18 years ago now and is ongoing and will be till I draw no more breath. So intentionally creating yourself. Use WIPOS to start with. Reaffirm your worth, identity, possibility, ownership, and sovereignty. Every day as you get up, first thing, and then take every action through that filter. Does this reflect my identity as a divine being? Is this worthy of a child of God? Does this recognize my ownership and sovereignty of my life, or am I handing it off to someone else? You are the sovereign. Say it. I am the sovereign. I create because I said so. Like no one's permission or agreement is required. You own this. You have been given it by the divine. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody, no how, nowhere, no way. Unless you give it away. You don't need permission. Life is waiting for your command. There was a poem that I'm going to quote poorly that said something like, I bargained for life for a penny, and when I got done, life would give no more. No matter how much I pled, that's all it would give me in my scanty store. Imagine how bad I felt at the end when I realized life would have paid any wage I had demanded. I settled. Man, that used to be me. Don't let that be you. Make a choice to be all that you are right here, right now. And, it doesn't happen all at once. Ding! But it's a process. So start. Today is the ideal day. We should have started yesterday, but that's not available. So today we'll have to do. You want to get to the top of the mountain? You want to create thunder from the sky? You want to create a bulging bank account? You want to create an impact in the world? My goal's 300 million. Maybe yours is bigger. Here's how we do it. We get up, we prepare ourselves every day, we declare clear, specific measurable goals, and when we get after them, and when we fall and fail, we get up and forgive ourselves and get moving again. Why? Because you can. You're a divine being, and you yearn to create. If I can help you, get a hold of me. Here is the last thing I want to tell you. This is who you are. Your worth is infinite. Your identity is divine as a child of God. Your possibility is endless. You own your life. You are the sovereign creator. None of those things pass from your hand unless you give them away. So take the scepter and with the magic of your being, shape the world, your world with your hands. Just because you can. It's in you. So here is your charge. Right? Here's your invitation. Get a hold of me if I can help you. Get a hold of me if you have a story of overcoming and resilience you want to share. Get a hold of me if you're living your dream life and you'd like to tell me how you did it. I'd love to share those stories. Here it is, etched in the marrow of your bones and your being. You are of infinite worth. Okay? You're a divine being that's been sent here, not made. You've been sent here to shape worlds. Because of this, every possibility is available. Possibility bows before your command. You own this life. You can give it away, but nobody can take it from you. So build it, speak it, live it. Not tomorrow. Right here, right now. Now. Because you claim it. And join me in living your ultimate life.
Never hold back and you'll never ask why. Open your heart and this time around.
Right here, right now. Your opportunity for massive growth is right in front of you. Every episode gives you practical tips and practices that will change everything. If you want to know more, go to KellanFluckigerMedia.com. If you want more free tools, go here. YourUltimateLife.ca. Subscribe. Share.
Stand with your heart in the sky and your feet on